Welcome to In the Zone, brought to you by U.S. Construction Zone, bringing you strategies for success with construction innovators and change makers, including In the Zone peer-nominated national award winners. Here are your hosts, Jeremy and Valerie Owens.
Construction Zone's podcast.
In the Zone is what we're calling it.
My name is Valerie Owens, and I'm excited to be back with you today.
I'm Jeremy Owens, and I'm also excited, probably a little bit more excited than Valerie right now. That's another discussion, another podcast. We wanted to get into a little bit of things in the news, so Val got an article here, and she wanted to share what's going on.
So lately in the news, and of course across the construction industry, we've been hearing about the problem with a labor shortage. Well, not only a labor shortage, but material shortage. And so I just saw in the news that the Senate passed a $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill, which would put $550 billion into new infrastructure over the next 5 years. And a lot of this would be used for things such as improving roads and bridges and highways. However, I wanted to get your take on how this will affect the construction industry itself.
Yeah, I mean, I am a fan of the bill in terms of, we need to upgrade our infrastructure. I don't know if you've been on the freeway, go anywhere, any highway. For us, Highway 99 and going down California, and you're likely to lose a tire. Like it's needed. For sure. But I'm a little concerned with it, and we'll ask Tony Rader later on what his take is on it, because during COVID we lost, right out the gate, we lost 1 million workers. So 1 million workers were laid off, and a lot of that was on the manufacturing side. We did recoup 80% of that, so we still have roughly 400,000 to go, and this bill, they say, is going to add another 650,000 workers. So we're about 1 million short, and I'm concerned with that million number because our shortage in Northern California is as worst as it's ever been, and so I'm nervous because I don't know how we can perform it from that side, but also the supply chain side for us. I mean, getting material is triple what it was before. We have problems with rail cars. We have problems with trucking industry, anything regarding getting the material to us, raw materials, manufacturing, basically every single possible thing to get anything manufactured in the U.S. to a builder is completely strained. So now we have the biggest infrastructure bill ever, and probably, I don't even know what 1.2 trillion is. It's got to be a lot. It's got to be a lot, right? I'll ask my son. He'll tell me how much that is. But it just seems like it's a bad time in our industry to add kind of extra stress. And I did hear that Biden came out and said, well, before we get to it, we are going to fix the raw materials. We're going to fix the supply chain issue. We're going to fix the transportation. And I'm like, okay, I would have loved that fixed already. But how are we going to do that, within a year? So that's my biggest concern right now. I'd like to be optimistic, but I'm just not, because of our own work has been severely strained with labor shortage, and we can't get guys. We're losing guys more than we're gaining them. We're actually losing a lot of our crews to the trucking industry, and in the downturn in the 2008, we lost them to college. So we've lost workers. We have not picked them up.
Right, and I'm curious to get Tony's take on this.
He's way
Rader.
smarter than I am.
Well, no, but he just has so much experience and vast experience over different parts of the construction industry. So it'll be interesting to get his take on it. I think that he has a lot of great ideas, and and so experience with ideas, and then I think that he's going to offer a lot of
hopefully some insight that
optimism.
I don't have. Yeah. I'm looking for some optimism. I mean, hopefully he will be. But the other stat that was a couple other ones. One is our average worker in the construction industry right now is 43 years of age. Okay. That is very old. For construction, for an industry that you're using your hands, that's even older. So that's a concerning stat. we'll talk to Tony about the younger generations coming up, how we get them involved. The other one is, it's not a money issue. I was looking at the stats. Restaurant, hotel workers are an average in the U.S. of $18.23 an hour. Construction right now is an average of $32.86 an hour. That ain't bad.
Right.
So it's not money. It's just the messaging, and hopefully we can get the message out that you can make good money really right out of your trade school, or right away you can be making good money. So hopefully we get there and we can get to putting people at work and improving our roadways. And I know we have not only terrible roadways, but our bridges are in peril, and our state is currently on fire. I don't know if the bridges matter if they're burned, but
Right.
but
Wah, wah, wah.
but I'm a kind of a downer right now. I think I'm feeling downer because of my own work and what I'm feeling, the strain and the stress, and the crews everyone's complaining about wanting to make more money, and so it's just a stressful time for us. So
I agree.
To see this, I'm stressed.
Yeah, and even though it's good news,
Yeah,
really
it
it is good news. I think that we're in this climate right now where it seems, I was telling Jeremy the other day, it feels like we're waiting for the other shoe to drop in some ways. And if you do, if you are watching the news on any channel at any point in time, there's a lot of frightening things going on right now across our nation and globally. And so I think that, part of it too is that you're not only feeling the effects of it in being a business owner, which we can empathize with all of the business owners in not only construction, but in all fields. Everyone's feeling the effect of, this fear. And of course, it's difficult to be optimistic. Sometimes it feels phony if you're to say, everything's going to be great.
Yeah.
So, and so that is why I think it's really important, and why we both are very excited to have Tony with us today, because he's not just optimistic. I mean, it is based in experience. And I think that having someone who not only has the belief, but the ability to use their expertise and their skills to, bring these innovative ideas, such as bringing the younger demographic into this industry. Yeah. I'm just excited to hear what he has to say about
his thoughts and ideas and all that. Yeah. I think the last component to this news, and then we'll get to Tony, is the raw materials issue. Everyone talks about raw materials, and for us, for siding and windows and decking, there's raw materials and all those things, and there's been a shortage of just the raw materials to make things. And, just for example, getting a window could have taken 2 to 3 weeks last year. Now they're taking, 3 months. Right. So it does matter. And one of the industries that is going to be hardest hit, and they're looking at the most, is the steel industry. They can't keep up with current demand. So when they heard about this bill, they're like, how? And then they said, I'm worried that you guys are just going to outsource from another country. And that's not the intent of this bill. The intent of this bill is to get Americans working. So if we start too soon on this bill and get to working, I don't think that we can keep up. So then we're going to be getting raw materials from other countries, and then quality is an issue and other things. So,
right.
When you're building a bridge, you need the quality.
Yes, and I hear that there are a lot of there's a lot as far as a budget plan before it can actually be
implemented. Yeah, we're getting the cart in front of the horse a little bit.
Yeah. So it will take time, and and we'll go from there. In the meantime, it's a tough road to be on right now.
It is. I think, like you said, every industry has some COVID casualties. I just think with our industry, almost every single facet of getting material to us to putting it on the wall has been a casualty.
Yes.
The demand is great, but if you can't perform, then it doesn't really mean anything.
Right.
So everyone's like, oh, it's so great to be busy. And I'm like, and I just think like it's not a fun busy, it's just a busy, and so I want it to be fun again. It's just not currently.
Yeah, and change doesn't come from comfort. So I think
That's
the
too deep for this podcast.
the opportunity to learn from this and to improve for the future, I think is going to be, something that in the moment when you're trudging through, it's not comforting. But once we've gotten through it and we can look back and say, wow, this is how the greatest minds, figured out how to make it possible and how to keep businesses running and customers happy and, so.
Totally. Awesome. Well, that's in the news on In the Zone. And right now we'd like to talk about our... Okay, we are honored to be speaking to a true change maker in the construction industry today. Our guest has an illustrious 37-year career in many sectors of the construction industry and has specialized in project management, negotiations, management, and his fierce leadership skills have been demonstrated in every position along the way. His accolades and awards are frankly just too long to discuss on this podcast, but he was elected to be the Associated Builders and Contractors 2019 National Chair and was even invited to the White House. We are looking for change makers and innovators in the construction industry for this podcast, but I'll be damned if we didn't find both in Tony Rader. Thank you, Tony, for joining us. I appreciate that.
You bet, man. It's great to join, Jeremy.
All right. And just before we get started, we should probably let everybody know we had a little snafu with the technology, and you can really tell a lot about a person when things aren't going right, and things weren't going right connecting with him, and he hung on and stayed in there. So we appreciate that, Tony.
You bet.
All right. So I think I wanted to start with we kind of chatted a couple of weeks ago, and we have a similar upbringing in that we both started with our dads in the construction industry. So I'd like you to tell me a little bit about that experience with your father and how it kind of developed into who you are now.
I'm the youngest of four boys in my family. We weren't blessed with a sister, but I have plenty of individuals out there that said that they can jump in at any time and slap me upside the head. So with that, being the youngest of four, you get picked on a lot. And Dad came up from a rough upbringing himself and always worked hard for everything. He worked two jobs, extremely good on his work ethic, and taught us boys to do that, and that always treat others with the same level of respect that you want to be treated at. And he instilled that in all four of us. He was working at American Airlines, and he started a construction company on the side, if you can imagine that. And they did dirt excavation and also mowing. And that's how I started back when I was 13, 14 years old. Weekends and in the summertime and on, 6 days a week, I was on a tractor mowing lots at the city of Hearst that they own land. So we'd go out, and this is probably pre-you. We'd go out and get dumped on a site early in the morning with the old tin can water and metal lunch bucket, and Dad say, "I'll see you tonight." And that was our day. But our expectation was he'd sit down and line us out what the expectation was. Now, if we broke something during the day, the issue back then is there was no cell phones.
Right.
So we had to have a pocket of quarters, and would go and call Mom at the house, and she'd say, "Okay, well, what did you break?" And would tell Dad when he came by, and then Dad would come out, and it'd usually be from one of us boys messing around doing something we shouldn't have been doing with the equipment and breaking it. Of course, that's boys, right? So Dad would be, of course, ramped up about it, and would teach us that, that little bit there lost production and lost his ability to be able to bill for that job that day. Now we had to pick back up that amount of work the following day. So it instilled on all of us boys that work ethic, that there is a game plan, that you got to lay out a plan of action. And I enjoyed it being working outside and working with my hands. So that's how I got started, man.
Yeah. Wow, that's cool. You could tell you have a lot of fond memories about your experience with that. You don't see that every day with people working with their fathers, but I would agree with you. I got the same exact treatment and work ethic, and without that, I don't know where I'd be. But I'm glad that I ended up in the construction industry. So that good answer.
Yeah. So you have, one of the things I noticed in learning some things about you is you have had many roles, and in those roles, in the AUI, ABC chairman, and then your role currently with the NRP, you've always brought your integrity along with it. Your character shines brighter than everything you have accomplished, or it shines along with it. So you've brought philanthropy and integrity and selflessness. Has that always been a part of who you are as a young child and coming into this industry? Is it something that you found important as you went in? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
It is. The construction industry is, when you look at it overall, it's gotten a bad rap over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it's gotten a bad rap from individuals going out to people's homes and doing work in their home and not treating them with the level of respect and following up when they have an issue. And that's one thing I always tell people is that you'll call me, and if I don't answer you right away, I'm going to call you back.
Mm-hmm.
And I will call you back. Now, there's sometimes with subcontractors over the years, you may not like the answer I give you,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm going to call you back. Okay.
Right.
Because I owe you that. And I've always, I've told my kids, which I have 3 kids and a lovely bride of 42 years, that, when you have an issue, hit it head on.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to the individual and say, here's my perception. Here's what it is. Here's what I plan on doing. Is there anything that you're going to tell me that could change my mind on my decision? And people respect that, whether it be a man or a woman. They respect you being upfront with them as opposed to trying to hide something and do something dishonest, because you're not going to win at the end of the day. You're just not.
Right.
So be upfront. I treat employees the same way. If you're not meeting expectations, I'll sit you down and talk to you and tell you, and treat you like a man or treat you like a woman, and be upfront with you. And I found over the years that that's the way you do business. That's the way you build friends. I've got a lot of competitors over the years that we're good friends, but we're good competitors.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And
Yeah.
we can go into a pre-bid. I can tell you how many times I've gone into a pre-bid and seen several other companies that I compete against. And it's like old home. And sometimes that sets the clients or the architects or the engineers off, because they go, well, these guys are all like conversing together. They're looking for us to be pitted against each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not collusion by any means. It's just, hey, good to see you, Jeremy. Great to see you here, man. Good to see. How's the business doing?
Right. Yeah, there's enough business for all of us, isn't there? I never quite understood that. I think there's jealousy and pride that's involved in a lot of that, but same way with my competitors, there's enough business for all of us. Let's be cordial. Let's even learn from each other. Was there one individual that you would say that you learned kind of how you just described you going to work? Is it your dad, or was that somebody you learned that from along the way?
I've got several good mentors along the way that have coached me. And one of them, of course, is my dad, that is now no longer with us. But, there's another gentleman that was a CEO of a large mechanical, they're one of the largest in the nation. And he was CEO of the company back when they did, maybe 100 million. Well, now they're probably close to $1 billion in work. Yeah. And he's retired now. And Ben, I tell you, Ben is somebody that would come and challenge me. He would say, have you thought about this? Or think about the way you want to respond to this. More of a good mentor. Mm-hmm. And then I had one other individual named John McGuire, who John was the CFO for Tyson Foods. And John and I got to know each other really well. And he was one I could go in and say, man, I got this problem. And then John would give me some counsel. Yeah. It's great to have those mentors, and it's great to have those individuals when you start out in the industry, no matter what industry you have. Mm-hmm. And I've taken that to heart because I've mentored and helping individuals over the years with other corporations. I've got a gentleman right now that I'm helping, hired him right out of college, worked as an estimator for me, moved up to project manager, sold the firm. He left the firm, started a company out of the back of his house. Okay. He now has 275 employees, going to do 75 million this year and growing.
Awesome.
And I meet with him once a month, and we kind of go through, hey, what are your pain points? And I'm helping him structure leadership, helping him structure his company and for success. He's wanting to be 100 to 150 million next year, and he'll do it. You know, young guy, 37 years old, 38 years old. I mean, how exciting a story is that to tell in the industry?
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think just like you said, you know, mentors around you, but now if you can mentor others, then you're really giving back. And that's really why we wanted to talk to you, because we know that you've been a mentor for a lot of people, but not only a mentor for people, but the industry. And that honorable thing that you got with the ABC National Chair in 2019, I was telling Valerie about how difficult that is, and that's not something that just anybody can win. And so tell us a little bit about that experience and kind of how their mission, ABC's mission, became your mission.
Yeah, Ben Houston, my mentor, one of my mentors, actually got me involved with ABC. And when I came into the very first meeting, he said, you need to be involved with Associated Builders and Contractors of America. And I said, well, why? And he told me why. And I said, I'll try it. And I immediately fell in love with not only their mission and statement of providing a free enterprise system for construction to work in, but also the legislative side of it. Being part of the solution, not part of the outside looking in.
Sure.
Okay? That was critical for me. And as I grew into that mission of being able to be involved in ABC, I became part of the committees, some committees here locally in the local chapter, because they got 69 chapters nationwide, 27,000 members, companies. Okay.
Right.
So they're one of the largest in the industry,
Right.
construction industry association wise. And I got to be chair of the local chapter. And then from the local chapter, I started serving on committees nationally. And then they asked me if I would come on to the executive board, which there's 12 on the executive board. And I served on the executive board for about 3.5 years. And then they asked me to go in rotation for the national chair position. So I became chair in 2019.
Okay.
Now, chair of 27,000 member companies and 69 chapters is a daunting task.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's when you could travel. Okay. I was in the air somewhere every week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Every week. I would be gone 2 days a week out of the office and still doing my day job.
Right.
Okay? So I knew the task up front. I was very blessed to be able to do that. I got to meet a lot of individuals that I would never have the opportunity to meet, to be able to sit at the conference room right outside the Oval Office with the president and Ivanka and have a 15-minute, I was scheduled for 15 minutes and turn into a 45-minute discussion to where they're actually dragging him out of the room, not me.
Wow.
And, I always tell people, I got people over the years since then to say, why did you ever go meet with President Trump? And because of their political beliefs.
Sure.
And I told them, I said, why not?
Right.
Let me ask you the question. If I don't care who the president is,
Right.
it doesn't matter to me, is that you respect the office. If I can help the industry move forward in a positive manner, some way, somehow, that's what I want to do. And so they asked, we were served on a committee, the Workforce Development Committee, because, in the construction industry, at any given time, there's 450, 500,000 construction jobs open, even today.
Yeah. Yep.
When this infrastructure bill is signed all the way through, that goes to over 1 million jobs instantly that are available in the construction industry. We got a big problem, folks.
Yeah.
If you don't believe it, go to any restaurant.
Yeah.
Okay? Go try to get something delivered on time in the construction industry.
Right.
It's unfortunate where we stand right now in the construction industry because it's so backlogged with shortage of materials, shortage of labor. People are overstressed. And we're just trying to do our little small part to try to fill some of that gap.
So tell me a little bit about that. So the White House experience, was that on the committee for ABC? And when you guys kind of speaking about the labor shortage at that point and how the messaging was coming through? Okay.
We wanted to get, we developed a plan, ABC did, with the White House. Ivanka Trump led it. And she is let me tell you, say what you want to about that young lady. There's been few women that have blown my socks off with how smart and intelligent that woman is. Right out of the gate. Highest level of respect for her and what she brings to the table. She demands presence when you walk in. So, I was very blessed to be able to spend time with them. But the goal and the mission is we needed to fill this gap, because when kids are in this, I call it kids, so I apologize. When these kids, young men and women, are in high school, okay, they're in high school. Some of these, last thing they want to think about is working in the construction industry. Grit and grime, dirt, and all that.
Right.
They're pushed to go to college. Well, not every kid's built for college. Not every kid is going to be able to afford 100 to 150,000, maybe 200,000 in college dues and tuitions and books and everything else. So why not provide another path that will get them a great career at zero cost to them and pay them while they're getting it?
Yeah. Sounds like a good gig to me. Yeah, I was just telling Valerie about the average starting wage is right around $32 an hour for the construction industry, where a restaurant and hotel workers at 18. So the money is really hasn't been the issue, but the messaging was poor for so bad. And we were kind of talking about this before about the push to college, and everyone's got to go to college, and not everyone does need to go to college or should go to college. And so it was like kind of we needed to reopen this door to the construction industry and say, hey, wait a minute, what about us? And I think now you said it, now we're having a hard time just getting plumbers and electricians to show up and things to show up on time. So I did want to ask you about that infrastructure bill, and I know it's not fully vetted and signed yet, but if this does go through and we are at, let's say 1 million short of workers, how do we perform this? Like, not only the labor, but we also have supply issues as well. So how do we perform this and really
ensure its success?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult with the current model that we're in right now, because there's not enough labor right now. With looking at, you're going to have to bring in my opinion, you're going to have to bring in outside resources. And what I mean by that is you're going to have to bring in some people from outside of the United States to be able to fill some of these jobs and get them on a pathway to citizenship and get them on, started with that pathway. Yeah. There are people hungry for it. And it's also educating the young men and women about the open jobs in the construction industry. Provide that training. Individuals want to be trained, and they want a good training and they want a good education. They want their kids to have a good education. So we're providing that. Like in the roofing industry, about 1.5 years ago, I looked at the roofing industry and our training program. We have a great training program in NRCA. Okay, but it's never been recognized as a true apprenticeship program in the industry, like mechanical, electricians, plumbers, and so forth. The Department of Labor did not recognize it. So I said, why? Why don't we have a training program, a structured training program that's recognized by the Department of Labor? And they said, oh, it's too hard. It's too hard. So I got together, because I'm on the board also at NCEER, which is the curriculum for the construction industry, and visited with them and said, what's it going to take? Well, it's going to take a rewriting of the curriculum. It's going to take an application to the government to get approved. And everybody's going, oh, it's months. It may be a year. So I started pulling some strings, got some people involved, and made the application through an individual, and we got it approved in 30 days.
Wow.
That's huge.
Phenomenal.
And everybody said you couldn't get it done that quick. Well, I got it done that quick.
Yeah.
We're having our first class for roofer apprenticeship training next month, starting.
That's such a huge success. I mean, just on the heels of what we just talked about with the labor shortage, we got to have more of those training programs set up and ready, because that's how you're creating the whole younger generation in the trades. And we have very few of those experiences in California. I can tell you that. It's just so hard to get them trained. So
Yep.
that's awesome.
It's going to come to California. We're starting off with this program in Dallas-Fort Worth at the CEF training facility, which actually just opened up this week. 88,000 square foot brand new facility.
Wow.
So we're starting the program here. We're going to get the first class started, and then the goal is to utilize, out of the 69 chapters nationwide with ABC, there's 60 of them that have training facilities. We're going to roll this out to all 60 that have training facilities across the nation, California being included. And we've already got the program, we already got the curriculum. All they got to do is, here you go, folks, get the people. And we've got the network through the NRCA to get the companies and the individuals in the classes.
Right. Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I think that springboards into what you were going to
Yeah, well, I was just curious. It sounds like a lot of your motivation comes from bringing in the next generation into the construction industry. And so I know you're doing some things over at NRP with some innovations you have going on there. It sounds, what are some things that you can share with the listeners as far as, one, how you would bring the next generation, and how it makes, how, you know, that you've found that it makes it exciting, and then also some things that you already have in place?
Yep, great question, Valerie. I don't know if this is going to be shown video wise, but people will be able to see my hair. Kind of going to tell you that I'm not too much longer in this industry. Okay. I don't have Jeremy's hair color anymore. Yeah. But, you know, the exciting part of it is that when I visit with young men and women, you know, especially at the Young Constructors Forum at ABC, I tell them, say, think about this. You know, in our construction industry, the larger firms have every type of industry that you can think of within their firm. Draftsmen that work on AutoCAD, attorneys, CPAs, you know, think of financial people.
Right.
Think of all the various aspects that you can think of in the industry. And I'm sure that some of these larger construction companies have those in their firms. You know, when we started seeing the shortage, we said, okay, technology is going to drive some of this. Who would have ever thought that up on a roof, you'd have a robot laying roofing material?
Right.
Right.
Who would have ever thought that in lieu of putting guys up on a roof to do a roof inspection, that we now can do it with artificial intelligence that NRP developed, to go and fly the roof by drone, which is just capturing information, takes that information into an artificial intelligence computer that we have, and spits out a report and tells me everything about that roof and measures it in 3D AutoCAD ability drawing.
I wouldn't have said that. No.
Yeah. I mean, when we show people this, we've got about 2,600 sites to fly. We just got an order for 1,300 sites to do this artificial intelligence with. You know, and if you put this out with guys on a roof, you know, shutting the crew down, number one. So now you're losing production, right?
Right.
You're having to send that crew to that job to do the assessment. So then you get back and these guys are going to fill out their report, get everything up onto a server of some type, and then go back to work.
Right.
Okay. How long would you think it'd take you to do 1,300?
1,300 days.
Around all over the country. It would take you a while, right?
Yes.
It'd probably take you 9 months to a year, probably,
Yeah.
to do them all.
Yeah.
What if I told you we're going to do all 1,300 of those in 3 months and have fully reports done?
Wow.
Yeah, that's what we need, technology. Wow. So that NRP program, is that is that available for others? So can we buy that, or are you guys licensing that, or how are you going to do it?
Yeah, what we do is if someone needs that, they just go onto our website and order it. You can actually order it on the website
Oh,
program.
Okay.
It's very inexpensive. Like for a 50,000 square foot building, I think it's somewhere between $1,000 and $1,200. So if you ordered one today, Jeremy, in 10 days, I'd have a report for you.
Wow.
Okay. Wow.
And then you'd also have a login to where you've got that information from that forever. And
Right.
it comes with pictures, assessments, the measurements. It's got everything on it.
I mean, that's such a key piece to this labor shortage, is making sure that we keep the crews that we do have efficient. So, I mean, we're definitely going to be seeing more of technology kind of in construction. You talked about robots, and we're talking about we're doing zip walls and making buildings already. So, you know, something like that is exactly what the construction industry needs. So awesome. I mean, we need more of that, obviously, right now.
And there's other firms and other industries like drywall, you know, and plumbing, for instance. I know a couple of firms here locally that will build an office in sections, and it'll be complete when it comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the plumbing, the only thing that they've got to do for the plumbing fixtures is hang the actual fixture, but all the pre-plumbing done in the walls, 100% done.
Incredible.
Dang. Yeah.
The wiring's done.
Yeah. Perfect.
So it kind of, what it makes me think of is that generally in the past, you know, stereotypically, a lot of women have avoided the construction industry potentially because of the labor. You know, it's just one of the things that we've noticed across generations. It just, you know, women typically haven't been exposed to certain parts of the industry. As we move forward with greater technology, and we find that we are, you know, STEM programs are gaining massive steam. And what are you seeing for women in the construction industry? Let
me give you a couple of stats, and I'll kind of preference this with, I'm a humongous proponent of women in the construction industry. It is a guys dominated side of the world and industry wise. But I can tell you that if I was going to hire two individuals and I had women on this side and I had men on this side, and they both had the same capabilities, I would hire the women over the men. And the reason why is that you have someone that's more detailed, you have someone with more passion. I find that they're more reliable. And that's just me, okay? I may get shot off of this, but I'm just telling you that every experience I have, we have a young woman in the back, it's a project manager, and she is killing it right now. Killing it.
So great.
And has a baby at home.
Wow.
Okay? Put that on a guy and let me know how it goes for you.
They're calling in sick.
But in the industry, what you've seen in the construction world, which is great news. I did a talk with National Women in Roofing, and I gave them some of these same stats, and these stats are on the Department of Labor's website. You've seen a pay structure has always been a discrepancy between men and women in the construction industry. Men seem to be, for some reason, people think that they ought to be paid more. I'm a total proponent. I mean, I don't like that model. That model doesn't work here.
Right.
You know, the women's pay has increased to 97% of what a man makes. It's jumped from 85% to 97%. Now that is a huge jump in the roofing industry for people. We have women that are now on roofing crews. Go figure there now.
Yeah.
That's a little different, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You see the women in the workplace, in the roofing side of the world, it's increased to about 14.5% in the field. That needs to get better. It needs to get better.
Yeah.
In the office, we are dominated by women in our office. I can tell you that it's probably more like 70% women as opposed to the men in the office.
Because they're organized.
It's okay. I'm okay.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. I mean, we're definitely seeing the trend, and obviously that it's kind of a hot button topic. You know, now they have their own organizations, and they're really kind of sweeping the nation. So we're big supporters of them, and we're hopeful to talk to a few of them pretty soon, because it is the wave. And we talk about a shortage. We don't have a short. There's a lot of women who want to do something different, and we don't have a shortage of women that can join the industry and really kind of provide a little tweak to it. Like you were saying, that their organization, their brains typically, we're generalizing, they're a little different than us, and we're a little bit more task, like, get it done and move on. And I think sometimes women can see a big picture that we can't. And that's really why I wanted her to be involved in my podcast, was that she hasn't been involved with the construction industry my whole life, but she has these perspectives that I don't have, and I never will. And so without them, I'd be missing something. So I think that's what we're going.
Absolutely.
One of the things too that I admire so much about you is that you see value where a lot of people would tend to overlook it. So you do see it in demographics that might have been overlooked in the past, such as the younger generation or females, or, so I think that you've done a fantastic job of really being open to learning about what the needs of everyone is, and then using that with you in your leadership roles to speak for most people.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things that we're trying to do here is just leave the industry better than you found it. And I think that would be a legacy that you should be very proud of, and that everyone around you says the same thing. And, there's a lot of things that I'm impressed with you on, but the one thing that I keep coming back to is your leadership, your family, your faith, all of those things that are wrapped around you. Tell us a little bit about this. Will be our last question, about how important family and the rest of your life, how important that is in your leadership.
Family is extremely important to me. I've got 3 beautiful kids and 4 beautiful grandkids, and another one in the oven coming. So I'm excited about seeing the new little boy. We need another boy in the family. Nothing against women. We have plenty of women. We have another boy in the family for my only grandson. But the other thing that I tell some of the younger people here is that work hard, but remember that there's a work-life balance. I am a huge proponent of when somebody calls and says, "Hey, my son's got a game tonight, and I need to take off early." Go take off.
Yeah.
Get to your son's game. It will be here tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. Or I've got to go. We had several young ladies this week that they called and said, "Hey, I'm taking my daughter or son to school for the first day for this year. Is it okay?" Absolutely.
Yeah.
It'll be here when you get here. Go take them to school. I teased with one of the girls in the back. She's a great friend. And she said, "Hey, do you mind if I'm late? Because I got to take Aubrey to school." And I said, "No, make her walk." And she said, "Really?" And I go, "No, just don't take her to school." We like to have fun, but we work hard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Because we're around. Just think about it. You're around here and these individuals for a majority of your day.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. And I'm an early riser. I get here at the office 6:37 every day, and I'm usually here to 5, except for Fridays I take off a little bit early. But they all know that if they need something day or night, they can call.
Yeah.
I have a rule. The only rule I got about taking phone calls at night is I answer up until 9 o'clock. After that, all bets are off.
Yeah.
Snoring in the chair somewhere.
Gotcha. Cool. Well, we appreciate all the feedback and insightfulness of the industry. Wanted to finish like we do with everybody in our zone out kind of feature here, where we ask you 3 questions. And the first question for you, Tony, is, as a child, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh my. I would say originally it was following my dad in the airline industry some way.
Okay. So you want
That's what I wanted to fly somewhere.
Okay. Got it.
So pretend you have your own late night talk show. Who would you invite as your first guest?
Oh my, first guest. That's a great one there. It would be it'd have to be Robin Williams.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Just because you never know what you're going to get. And, I'd rather have the surprise
Yeah.
as opposed to somebody structured. I'd rather say,
Yes.
hey, bring it and let's just roll with it.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. You never know what you're gonna get with him, man. What a great soul he was. I agree with that
It
one.
was.
The last one here, who is the most influential person in your life?
The most influential person I probably have in my life, it would probably be my best friend that I currently have, which is Steve Little.
Oh,
Okay.
why is that?
I actually work for Steve. Okay, that's who I report to.
Okay.
But Steve and I've got a friendship on the other side of it that we can separate. And people tell us they're still constantly amazed at how we do this, is that I can separate business from personal.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We can have a business, we can get passionate about an issue, we can get passionate with each other. And when we get through, it's all out on the table. There's nothing left unsaid. And we can go out to dinner with our wives that night, or go travel the next day for a week-long vacation and do whatever.
Right.
Our families know each other. I've watched their kids grow up. He's watched our kids grow up. The wives are best friends. When you have that kind of relationship where you can bare your soul when you're, because we all go through times in our lives where we need somebody to pick us up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we've done that with each other. We've seen each other at our best. We've seen each other at the worst.
Hmm.
And just remember that you take a step back and take a breath and say, what can I do for you? And what do you need help with? When you see them hurt, when you see somebody needs some help, pick them up, help them. And you know what? It'll come back to you tenfold.
Yeah.
Wow.
What a gift. You were.
He just described a pretty good friend.
I know. That's what I was gonna say. A gift to have each other, but
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
oh.
All right. Well, we appreciate your time, Tony. We'll give you the last word. Do you have any last takeaways? Anything that calls to action for the industry? What would you like to leave with? Even though you could just leave with that friend description, that could work too.
I think, Jeremy, you said it the best, is leave the industry better than what you brought into it.
Yeah.
And help the younger generation see the footprint of a career, long-term career in the construction industry.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, we appreciate your time, Tony. If people want to get in touch with you, are you on LinkedIn, or are you just on your LinkedIn would be the place to go?
Yep.
All right. Well,
you missed out, connect, and we'll talk.
All right. Thanks again, Tony.
Fantastic.
All
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, Tony. Thanks.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, that was cool. Like I said in the beginning of the podcast, we had a snafu getting connected, and just the fact that he was gracious and he just said, no problem, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
It was just like, I told Val, I was like, probably 9 out of 10 guys would be like, I got
Yeah.
it.
See you later.
I gotta
We'll
go.
try this next time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I felt. I started getting nervous, but Tony helped me feel at ease. He started writing.
We
writing
couldn't
notes
hear
to
him,
us
so he
and
was
holding them
writing
up,
down, chicken scratch notes. And
Well, I'm so impressed. I'm impressed with everything that he could put on his resume. That alone, stands alone on itself. That is,
right.
But even more so, the ease of being able to talk to him, for one.
Yeah.
What you see is what you get.
Mm-hmm.
It's very obvious that his character is what he leads with.
Yeah.
And I'd love to get to know him better. I think having leaders in the industry that not only bring the aspect of experience and skill and this brilliance, but also leading with their heart and their convictions and insight and integrity. I mean, what a fantastic person to be part of your industry and to call a peer.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. That's the kind of guy we want to be part of US Construction Zone and be leading us. And that's why we kept asking questions about how he's done in leadership, because this is how the rest of us are going to learn. Mm-hmm. We're not going to learn by reading it out of a magazine, or it's going to be from that relationship you have with a guy like Tony. Mm-hmm. So we definitely appreciate him being on the show, and that's the kind of guy that we're looking for.
Yeah.
And gal, we're looking for people who are, we said it a couple times, leaving the industry better, leading with integrity. All of those things are
And then
the buzzwords.
know the value of connection and contacts, and one, having mentors that are willing to share with you, but then also turning around and being that for someone else.
Yeah, totally agree. Anything else? Any last words? All right. Well, we thank you guys all for listening and watching, and we can't wait to keep this thing rolling and chat with more people and learn from them. And so thanks again. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to In the Zone with Jeremy and Valerie Owens. Be sure to subscribe to In the Zone and stay in the know with the best minds in the construction industry. To nominate an innovator or change maker in the construction industry, connect with your management peers, and stay up to date with construction industry news, be sure to visit usconstructionzone.com.